It's no use. But why can't I defeat you?
Because we're
What most people consider the Adventure era has 5 of the most popular Sonic games, and that is because of the style of gameplay, which is what we now call the Adventure formula. All of the games with this formula are quite similar. You play as different characters that are all part of the same story, but they have different goals and perspectives for their story, and the different characters have different styles of gameplay. Sonic usually has the best gameplay because it keeps what the classic games did so well. If you can keep your momentum, you are rewarded with high speed. Now, this isn't the case for all the adventure games, but it is the case for at least the first 3. Shadow 05 is a little different. The first 3 adventure games are the most liked of them all, and Shadow 05 and Sonic 06, they're pretty notorious, and not because they're good. But there are people who still like these games, myself included. Not Shadow 05 though. Anyway, I've already talked about Sonic 06 before. These 3 games are agreed to be some of the best Sonic games we've ever seen. And I kind of agree. And most of that is because Sonic Adventure is my favorite Sonic game. I've already said my thoughts on Sonic Adventure 2. And if you don't agree with my opinions on Sonic Adventure 2, maybe go vote on my new poll. And also, you should just subscribe. Plug out of the way, this video is about Sonic Heroes, and obviously from the title, you can tell I don't like it. It might be my least favorite Sonic game I've ever played, maybe besides Shadow 05, but that's for another day. To be honest, I didn't even beat Team Chaotix. I kept crashing, and also it just felt like a waste of my time. I'd already been playing for so long at that point, and I just felt like it wasn't even worth it. So I ended up just skipping it. I might have not skipped it if the game already wasn't so long. That's one of the worst parts about the game, it's just too long. It's not like a game can't be long. Some games it works really well with the story. Sonic Heroes just isn't one of those games. The game is just really repetitive. The campaigns are the problem. This didn't need to be a problem. The way Sonic Adventure did it was just better. Levels were used multiple times in Sonic Adventure. It didn't feel repetitive because the playstyle of each campaign was different from one another. In Sonic Heroes, it feels like you're playing the same game. And that's because each campaign has the exact same playstyle. And when you aren't playing Team Rose, the level just repeats itself. It'll use the same gimmick multiple times, and that's what makes the level so long. It even feels repetitive on your first playthrough. It wouldn't have felt as repetitive if you didn't just use the same 3 gameplay styles for each campaign. And the 3 gameplay styles we have, speed, power, and flight, don't even feel that good to use. Sometimes there will be moments where you're going fast, and then you have to switch to a flight or a power character, and obviously those aren't as fast as speed characters. So then you might switch back to the speed characters too early without realizing that you have to stay the flight or power character. I feel like if you knew you weren't supposed to switch, this could have been like a rewarding feeling, like how in the Boost games reaction speed is a big part of it. And if you have a good enough reaction time, it feels really rewarding to dodge an obstacle. But in Sonic Heroes, it just doesn't have the same feeling. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is true. I just feel like switching characters doesn't really feel smooth. I think part of that is because of how different each character's movement speed is. It just doesn't feel consistent to switch characters. And the level design didn't complement this. It has you switching characters just for the littlest things, just for it to make you go back to speed right after it. Shout out to the casino levels for being some of the most awful Sonic stages I've ever played, and this rail section for killing me so much. Now, I'm pretty sure I can admit that this was just a skill issue on my part, because looking back, it looks a lot easier than I remember. Now would be a better time to start talking about the campaigns more in depth, and I'll do that with a ranking from best to worst. In the number 1 spot, we have Team Rose. This might be a crazy skill issue, but I feel that Team Rose was the least repetitive and didn't have the problem of way too long levels. And to be honest, I'm surprised this goes unnoticed. The Werehog levels in Unleashed are around the same length, and they have a bad rep for it. That's besides the point. Anyways, Team Sonic is my second favorite. I think they actually had the best first 2 levels. If the whole game was as good as the first 2 levels, the game might have been halfway decent. Anyway, Team Sonic's only a number 2 just because it's not as bad as the next 2 campaigns. Team Dark in number 3. These levels are just way too long and repetitive, but they did have the best Team Blast. At least you don't have to collect things, unlike number 4. Team Chaotix. Yeah, everyone already knows why Team Chaotix is in number 4, but it's pretty surprising that they even got in this game, because Knuckles Chaotix did really bad. It's nice that Sonic Team gave them another chance. If only they gave a certain someone else another chance. Either way, these levels suck. Sometimes the enemies just won't spawn. And I didn't know this, and I went through the same level multiple times. Also, the characters talk too much, and not as in speaking to each other, like when they do actions.
Let's go!
Here we go!
Alright! We're off!
You get the point. They just always make noises whenever they do something. Now on to the bosses. Most of them are all really easy. You can just spam homing attack. This probably isn't the best way for most bosses, but it's also just the easiest way. The last boss of each campaign is just using the flying character and just camping in the air. However, both of the boss fights where you fight just badniks are so tedious. Because these boss fights are usually around 5 minutes, it's easy to make a mistake and fall off the level. On the topic of bosses, let's talk about the final boss. I mean, it's one of the final bosses of all time. It's probably the most boring final boss to actually play. Your only method of attacking is using the Team Blast. At least Neo Metal Sonic is cool. And also, this is probably the best final boss OST we've ever had. No matter how loud you play it, it's not loud enough. I guess while we're on the topic of things I like about the game, I'll state more things that I like about the game. 12 playable characters, which is the most playable characters in a mainline Sonic game. I like the idea of the team mechanic. If it was better fleshed out, it really could have been a great game. Unfortunately, that's about it for what I like about the game. People who like Sonic Heroes only like the game because they ignore the bad in the game. Because Sonic Heroes is a good game, only if you ignore the bad. And it's not like Sonic Unleashed where the good overshines the bad. The bad parts of the game are just too bad to ignore, because they happen in every level. Anyway, I'm just glad to be finally finished with this game, and I most likely won't be touching this game again. If you made it this far in the video, you should subscribe, and also like the video. Alright, goodbye. Also, I forgot to mention that the special stages are easy. Alright, actually goodbye this time.
Because we're Sonic Heroes!
Trying to reach inside.